My internet went down for almost 24 hours a few weeks ago, and honestly, it was a pretty profound experience. I spent the afternoon leisurely talking with my husband. I colored in the first time in probably a couple years. I took a mindful walk with my dog where I laid and looked at the clouds, and I actually saw neighbors in the park playing catch. We ended up watching a movie we had downloaded, and we didn't have all of that decision making fatigue as we're scrolling for a movie. And it really reminded me of this sense of freedom and peace I felt inside of me as a child. And it made me start to reconsider my relationship with the last social media app I had on my phone, which is actually YouTube. And for a while, my best friend and I have been talking about boundaries with social media, and I don't have any of the other apps on my phone, but I kept justifying my YouTube use because I would do healthy things like listen to meditations or practice yoga. But then I also always had it on in the background, maybe even if it was ASMR. So I told myself it was just relaxing. It dawned on me that I'm pretty much never alone with my thoughts anymore. Even when I'm getting ready for bed, I have some sort of content going on in the background. And I realized this probably isn't healthy for me. And I know the facts around how we need to be alone with our thoughts, how we actually need to be bored so we can think about our best future plans and drive our life forward in a very intentional way. But this sort of content is incredibly attractive. It's addictive to our brains. We love the novelty. We love the cheap dopamine hits. And so I fell victim to it as well. But I decided, I'm going to disable my YouTube. Unfortunately, on my phone, I can't delete my YouTube app, which I think is pretty telling. But anyway, after I disabled my YouTube app, I started to realize that this sense of constant noisiness I was feeling in my head was 99% coming outside of me. It was just because I have too many of other people's thoughts filling up my own headspace when it needs to be filled with my own thoughts most of the time, so I can, be creative and think about where I want to go and be present in my life and my relationships. And so once I started to feel this sense of peace, I realized that I can really guide my own yoga practice now. I can be empowered to do that. For years I've been practicing yoga, but I always follow a teacher on YouTube. But now, over the last couple weeks, I've been creating my own YouTube practice every morning. I sit down and I listen to my body and what it's telling me it needs in that morning. Maybe it's some sun salutations. Maybe it's some more gentle yin yoga. But I am able to listen to my body and give it what it specifically needs that day versus just giving that power over to someone else. It's truly empowering. And I'm realizing how much of my sense of fun and relaxation has been tied to consumption, super common in our capitalist society too. I have been trained to consume content, consume products, shop, consume alcohol, consume food as a source of entertainment. But it's not authentic fun. In the last couple weeks since I disabled my YouTube, I've colored more than I have in years. I've taken mindful walks with my dog, no distractions, just being present, hearing the birds, seeing the sights. I have, bought a hula hoop with the intention to learn because I never did as a kid. I might have gotten the wrong size hula hoop though to learn, so I'll keep you notified. And I bought a new bike helmet because it was my excuse for not getting on my bike lately that my helmet was broken. And I even have been playing Just Dance again on my Switch because I'm realizing that it's so much more fun to show up in my life with the things that I enjoy rather than mindlessly sitting back and getting those cheap dopamine hits while I'm being entertained or relaxed. It's kind of sad, but I'm realizing we have been fed a lie that everything we need is at our fingertips. Our food apps, our social media apps, connection. We can consume content. We can feel like we're engaged with the news. But there's no substitute for showing up in my life. And Yet yesterday I fell down another social media rabbit hole. I found myself on Facebook, much of the day, which I don't even like Facebook, but I felt this urge that, oh my gosh, if I'm not on social media, I can't propel my business forward. I can't move forward as fast as I like. And yet every time I use Facebook, I feel like I'm screaming into the void. There's lots of wonderful people sharing wonderful ideas, products, and services, but I think it's all just too noisy for us to hear what really resonates sometimes. And I'm realizing that posting on social media, which sure, it feels easy and fun, and I get to do it in my pajamas, it's not really a substitute for showing up in real life. And so I'm going to use this wake-up call around my social media use as an invitation to show up in my real life. That ranges from things as simple as saying hi to my neighbors when I take a mindful walk or attending some of my local community events, but also finally doing the things that I've been called to do to really show up more in the world and spread that positive ripple effect that is my greatest life's mission around how healing and recovery from codependency, from trauma, from toxic relationships are completely possible. And so I'm going to start scheduling real life groups, real life workshops, real life retreats and events, and overcome that fear, because there's no substitute for showing up in my life. And so if you've made it this far, I commend you. I am sure this resonates with you too. I know how noisy and overwhelming yet addictive our social media use can be. And it can really feel like we're truly going to miss out on something if we're not using social media. That FOMO might be the idea that you're going to miss out on invitations to fun things, or knowing what's happening in your friends and family's lives. Or if you're a business owner, the sense that you can't propel your business forward without it. But I want you to turn within, and I want you to ask yourself authentically, if you had complete trust that by showing up in the world in ways that are authentically aligned for you, if you had complete trust that showing up that way, in an authentic way, could bring you more connection with the people you care about, with the community that you live in, and could propel your business forward even more authentically, would you still be posting on social media and engaging with it and scrolling on it the way you do? And if not, I encourage you to use this video as a subtle message coming from within that you are resonating with this, and that maybe it's time to disable or delete your most addictive app. And the more justifications you have around using it, the more it might be a problem for you. I know that was true for me. And I'm feeling this incredible sense of freedom, mental clarity, physical relief, and connection with my own body just from disabling YouTube a couple weeks ago. And I can't wait to keep updating you about my showing up in real life journey over social media, but through social media, ironically, but I want to connect with you. I'm going to keep you updated, and I want to hear how this resonated with you, what your journey with social media has been like, and what you're inspired to do, how you want to show up authentically in your real life, for your connections, for your business, whatever the reasons you use social media are. I want to hear from you. And I'm just sending you so much love on this journey. I know how confusing it can be, but there's so much clarity I'm realizing on the other side of it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. With love, I'll see you next time.